Alright, guys. Okay, so I guess today I just want to talk about some things that are also hard to talk about, like my last live stream. I think live streaming is going to be like the way to do this because I just get inspiration to do something, to talk about something, and then I just do it, and it's a lot easier that way. Rather than like planning it out and then putting it all together in the end. But anyway, the point is, I wanted to talk about targeted individuals. And talking about something like this is not something I've ever done before publicly, even privately. I've only mentioned this to maybe 2 people or something, but it's a very real thing, and it's happening to a lot of people, especially people who are really connected to themselves and who see a lot of the illusions that people have here. This lady outside is like taking her jacket off. Okay, anyway, yeah, so if you're going to talk about all the light stuff, you got to delve into the void as well. The metaphorical void, because the void symbolizes a lot of things to me. Some of them are very beautiful. And also, it symbolizes like that darker aspect of everything. So, gang stalking is real. If you're a more logical-minded person, you can look into like Edward Snowden and his talk about like targeting individuals. If you're more religious, you can understand it from a biblical perspective of I don't know much about the Bible, but I know that it's referenced there, like in the ends of days, like it's difficult for the people who are trying to maintain that clarity and that light. And I've just heard about this a lot because I'm involved in like spiritual circles to a degree, and it seems that a lot of people who have psychic abilities, who are telepathic, who are living like very heart-centered, creative lives that know how things are and see things clearly are being silenced. One way is like the mental health system, jail. It goes deep, man. It goes really, really deep, and it's at levels that are really sad, honestly, because things are so manipulated. The manipulation of our understanding of ourselves is ever present. It's woven into the fabric of our reality so carefully and so gracefully that most people don't even notice that we're constantly being disconnected from ourselves. We're being taught to be something that is of a much lesser nature, I could say, politely. And something that's easy to control, and something that doesn't have the time or the energy or the access to these parts of themselves. So like the food, the water, the air, nature, the family, the destruction of the family is being sown. The way that we watch television or movies and all these things, a lot of that is just programming. And it's even deeper than that, because it's also, there is actual programming going on, individual programming that's also being done. But that'll be for another day. But I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that there is an agenda, And the agenda is not for your highest benefit, and this is spiritual warfare. And if you're unaware of the warfare that's going on, you're easily taken to the slaughter. Like, it's that simple. Oh, like meat too also. That's another thing. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that I'm good at maintaining any sort of clarity, but what I am saying is that I understand why these things are being done and how they're being done. And I understand that this is spiritual warfare. And so I try to be as strong as I possibly can at all times, which at times is weak, but I try. And that's all you can really ask for. So people have trouble with sometimes with work. Sometimes people just go to the park. They have trouble at the park. Strangers, complete strangers, interfering in their happiness, manipulating their energy, putting hooks in their aura, like just really like, it's sad because I think it's sad because they know that once you reach a higher understanding, you can't go back to the original understanding. So once it's over for them, it's over. And it's inevitable, ultimately. So really, it's just a race against time, which I find silly because, but it's fun to play the game and war it out, I suppose. But real people's lives are being affected who are possibly unaware of their targeting, of what's going on. They've been convinced of their own insanity. And it's very unfortunate because people kill themselves and people lose their lives because of this. And it's very serious. And I don't take anything serious. So if I say it's serious, then it's very serious. But we're strong enough to handle anything, individually and collectively. I just wanted to make a note of the fact that I am personally experiencing this all the time. And the way that I perceive it is not necessarily on a human level, but I see this as more like a spiritual level. So it's like people may not even be aware of their involvement at times. But yeah, I realized a couple years ago that I was psychic. And I've been aware of the I don't even know what to call it. The world is corrupt in many ways. And I've always been very aware of that. And in a way where like I maintain my own individuality and my own power, and I'm not the type of person to go with the flow all the time. Not the flow that is being pushed on me, the flow of of the universe, for sure. Like, yeah, I'll ride that wave all day. But that's very different because you feel that in your heart that it's good and that it's right and that you're being guided. Whereas this other thing is being pushed upon you, and it's like, it's not you. And you know it's not you, so it feels wrong. But I've always been that type of person. Anybody who's known me for a long time has known that I've always been a contrarian, a brat a little bit. Me and my friend have this joke about being cosmic brats from the ninth dimension. Weird cosmic brats from the ninth dimension. I'd love to start like a podcast. That'd be great. But anyway, yeah, like when I feel something is wrong, I address it. And like that comes off as a troublemaker for a lot of people. But that's the type of person that I am, is to counter things that are wrong because it should be right. And that's a little, some people might find that stubborn, but I think it's I think there's that warrior energy, that rebel energy that we need sometimes to break the old mold of things. And so we have to be that way to change things. That's in our nature for a reason. There's a purpose and a function of everything that we feel within us. And I also don't want to scare people with this too, because yes, these things are being done. Yes, it's awful, and yes, horrible things have and will happen to many people, but I'm not afraid to die, because I know I'm more than my physical body. But beyond that, I know that I'm ultimately in control of my life, and that nobody can take control of my life. They can try to move it in a certain direction. They can try to manipulate aspects of me. They can find things that I find repulsive about myself. And they can pick at those things. They can say, oh, look at that. Oh, well, what about this? How do you feel about that? Whatever, right? But ultimately, they're only creating a stronger individual. Because if you confront these things constantly, your insecurities, your fears, you become stronger beyond, you become a person that cannot be fucked with. You can't. And it takes time, and it's a practice, and nobody is going to be perfect. But ironically, what they're doing is actually making some of the strongest people, because we've been thrown everything. And if we survive everything, then what can you do to me? You can't do anything to me. You have no power here. I banish you. You have no power here. But I think one of the more important things is to not get caught up in that fear and that powerlessness and that victimhood, and to face it every single day, because exposure therapy is super important. So like, you go and you deal with it, and it's not that bad. Like, once you face it, you realize it's not that bad, and you realize how powerful you are, and that you can do anything. And how I feel like a lot of people have the issue of like feeling like, well, maybe it is me. Maybe like it can't be everyone else all the time. Not everyone else, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because it is like demonic in nature. So you can't logically explain something that's not logical, right? I don't know. So I just wanted to talk about that and let it be known, because I discovered that I have abilities beyond my physical abilities, and that's when a lot of this started. And you go through trials and you go through tribulations. Like, a lot of the other stuff I want to talk about is like shadow beings, dealing with that, because I've encountered a lot of people who deal with shadow beings. Also, it would be fun for me to talk about like exiting the matrix and coming back. Telepathy, love, a lot of things. Like twin flames would be interesting to talk about too. But yeah, I just needed to put it on record. Like, if you're the type of person that is outspoken, you are a leader, you have strong core values and morals that cannot be fucked with. Like, you maintain your dignity to a degree that other people don't, then that's somebody that they're going to need to take out, because you're a threat. And I know a lot of people are like, you're not a threat, like, you're just a normal person. Like, what would they want with you? Well, there's power in knowledge, and there's power in that connection you have to yourself and to your ancestors or your higher self or to God or whatever you want to call it. There is so much power in that. So much power, and you can't always see that power physically. And being outspoken is very dangerous in this world. Although we're supposed to have freedom of speech, there are programs in place to keep an eye on people who are dissident. I believe that's the word. And it's going on. So, yeah, if you're experiencing this, feel free to talk to me about it. it's done in many ways. It's very subtle sometimes, gaslighting. Also very obvious. Sometimes you just go somewhere and a stranger is screaming at you for no reason or threatening your life. Somebody you don't know. Now I've learned to really just like look at it from this place of like, from back here. I'm here. That's there. Not in a place where I'm like disassociating from it, because that is me and this is also me. But I'm choosing this higher perspective of, oh, I see why this is happening. I see what you're doing. I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to give you my energy. And I'll exit the situation as gracefully and as politely as I can. Other times, it's hard to say because, sometimes if you are very confrontational, it just becomes more confrontational and you just become more entangled with it. But just understanding why it's happening is really important. So people who are religious and and I don't mean just anybody who's religious. I mean people who are genuinely connected to God and to themselves, and people who are spiritual, people who have extrasensory abilities, people who have a warrior energy, people who are like anti government, they're against the systems, they're outside of the system, they're breaking all the systems. Like those are the types of people who are being targeted. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. And it's done like in weird ways, even like in ways where you're just like, what the fuck? Like weird hand symbols, or like just noise campaigns. Like people will get noise campaigns all the time. That this morning I woke up and there was like right out there's like sirens going off. And then there's construction right there now too. That's been going on for a while. But like just constantly bombarding you, like keeping you from sleeping, keeping you from doing a lot of the things you need to do to function. Like work even is one that a lot of people get, is like they're blocked from getting jobs, or when they do get a job, they're targeted at their job constantly. What else have I heard from people? I'm not really going to get into like what I deal with specifically yet, because I don't think that's important really. But yeah, it's there. It's definitely there. And speaking your mind is very dangerous, because knowledge is power, and they don't want anybody to have power, because if you have power, that means you're taking it from them. And they want all the power. They need all the power. It's so silly. It's all so silly. I find everything so silly. And I think people get upset because sometimes I'll laugh. Like they're telling me something awful sometimes and I laugh at it. That sounds fucked up. It is fucked up. But it's like, I don't mean it like that. It's like, if it was me, I'd laugh too. You know? I laugh at my own tragedy all the time. I think it's hilarious, these games we play here. All the stuff we're doing here. It's funny. Information. People will make information about you that's incorrect or false, and they'll give evidence sometimes to show you like that information. People are placed in your life purposely to get close to you and to like lower your vibration, or to make you doubt yourself, or just get you into bad things, right? So stuff like that happens a lot, unfortunately. And a lot of people would say this is crazy, but like, you're not psychic, you're not telepathic. Well, you don't know that. Just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean that I can't be experiencing it fully, because I am fully experiencing this. And just because those things don't line up for you does not mean that it's not possible. Because maybe you've created a reality for yourself where things like that are not possible. And that's been done purposely to keep you from accessing these parts of yourself. Because they're there and you can access them and you can do anything. You can manifest magic and miracles every moment of every day, and lessons if you choose to see the lesson in the pain, and if you choose to see the beauty in the mundane. But you have to make that choice. And you have to be connected enough to yourself. And by yourself, I mean like God. To even be able to think clearly. And you can't do that, like I said, because it's been manipulated so that you can't do that. But, you know, I'm psychic. And I'm starting to realize that I'm telepathic. Like, heart-based telepathy, though. Not necessarily, like, hearing, like, things from other people. It's more like, I can feel people who are across the country, and I know sometimes more about them than maybe I even want to. But I can feel that. And we're all connected telepathically, like through the ether. Like Carl Jung talks about like the collective unconscious. And it's always there for you to access. Or like the Akashic Records, like we have access to so much. We have access to so much. But we have to tap into it. And to do that, we have to tap into ourselves. And like a lot of us are not doing that. And I'm starting to do that again. Because I do get fearful and I do get afraid and I do want to just go back into like the void within my own self. And like caving in on itself and like not wanting to deal with all this because it is a lot to deal with. But this is spiritual warfare. And if you came here for spiritual warfare, then you better be ready to be a warrior. That's just what it is. You wouldn't choose anything you can't handle. And nobody has control of your life other than you. Nobody has control over your feelings and your emotions and your ideas and your thoughts and your actions. Only you. You have control over all of these things. So it's just you. So there's nobody to blame. There's nobody to thank. It's just you. But there is manipulation on so many levels. But we have to see the manipulation for what it is and understand that we can overcome it. We can always overcome it. We don't choose to come here to not overcome things. I should have closed my window because I keep looking out there. Because it's all like... I had a wonderful talk today with a bunch of people who are also dealing with this, unfortunately. But also fortunately, because the fact that you're a threat to something means that you're doing a good job. So take a little round of applause for anybody, all of you, or all of us who have come to certain understandings within ourselves, because it's not easy. And that's the hardest part. We've overcome some of the hardest parts already. So just getting a little rambly now, but yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. That's something that I experience. I've really learned to be okay with it and just see it for what it is and not let it affect me. And if my boundary is being crossed to the extent that I need to deal with it and it's worth my energy to deal with in the moment because it'll only grow if I allow it, then I'll address it. But always politely, always respectfully, always trying to be as patient, graceful, understanding, and level-headed as I possibly can. So, yeah. Sorry if you guys are dealing with this. And love you guys. Blue skies. Hey, what's up, blue skies? Hello there. Yes, this is my unicorn. Yeah, so I just thought I'd talk about targeted individuals or gang stalking or whatever, because it's real. And we need to talk about it because a lot of people feel like they're crazy. But the only way that, like, we're all going to get a better understanding of what's going on is if we share information. So the only reason I know anything about this is because of other people sharing their information. So now it's my turn to clear my throat and speak my truth and give my piece of the puzzle. That way we can all put this puzzle together as a community and start to connect and understand and find the power that is in community, because there is so much power and so much healing and so much beauty in community. And if you live in a small town, or you don't find like-minded people in your community, then the internet is the place for you, my friend. And then you can meet people from the internet, meet them in real life, build a real community, like a real physical community. So anyway, thank you guys for listening and watching. And people will have to pay for the things that they do, but it's not always your job to make them pay. So keep your conscience clear. All right, thanks, y'all. Love y'all. Bye. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And go out into the mountains or something. Like, have some tea, dance in the rain. Do whatever it is that makes you feel alive. Go ride a horse.